You did. And then I started because, in my head, I'm like, you know what? This is good evening, everyone, and good evening. We will be starting at 6:45 today, okay?
talking over y'all. Yeah, I'm trying to see if they can. Oh, nope. What you mean?
Do it need to be?
Oh, I don't know. The light, wherever, if it need to be on this side so it can highlight her more.
Yeah, the light should be
on this side, don't need
It need to be
in front of her. Yeah, plug that back there. Okay, my bad. Hey y'all. Hey, Apostle Marilyn.
You can just plug right here.
Oh, hello. Who is that on the iPhone? I want to make sure I know who is here. I see Apostle Marilyn. What's up, Dr. M.E.? And somebody on the iPhone, but I can't see who it is from here. It's okay. Welcome, y'all, those who are present with us and those of you who will be watching this on replay, on record. Welcome to the first night of My Shalom is My Business Women's Retreat. I'm excited to be here with you. I am Coach Treasure. Some of you may know me as Apostle Shalonda. Either way, we're the same person. Hey, tonight we are going to start off really just discussing, excuse me, y'all, I just put my hand on the sacred book. Sorry. So we're going to start off just really talking about why we're here. Why are we here? There has been so many changes, right, in this earth. I mean, so many changes, so much going on. And my passion for women has increased like to insurmountable levels. I can't even begin to explain how much my heart grieves for those of us who don't have any peace. But what I've been learning over this past year, maybe 2 years, is that everybody's piece is different. Everybody's piece looks different. It doesn't have the same conversation. It doesn't have the same likes, dislikes, or anything like that. And the way that I have grown up was to really think that we didn't have a choice. We didn't have a choice as to whether we were going to be different or not. There's always a question about whether this is acceptable, whether that is acceptable. Everything but the thing that we are told is not pleasing, which is faith, right? And so when you think about what faith is, then you can really understand what shalom is, what peace is. And shalom is so much more than just peace. And we're going to cover that more in depth tomorrow. But let me give a little overview, right? So we know the word shalom to be a greeting to, in the Jewish culture, right? And so when they say that, they don't just say that just to have something to say. Y'all know how we do. Oh, God bless you. God bless you, right? We God bless you. And we, for some reason, think that that's sufficient. But most of the time, there's no heart behind it. There's no really goodwill behind it because you're too busy thinking about yourself and your own woes, right? For it really to be something behind those words. But when they said shalom in the Jewish culture, they knew what they were saying it for. They were saying it because I want you to be well. I want all things to be well with you. So when I think about my shalom, and I think about the night that God had me even mention that while I was live on Facebook, I believe, and not sure if he was there at the time, but he just kept saying it. Their shalom is their business. Your shalom is your business. And I just kept saying it. And eventually it hit me one day, probably like a couple of months after that live. Your shalom is your business. Because I just kept praying, like, God, what is wrong? Like, why, and it's not that I'm doubting you. It's not that I have no faith at all. It's not that I don't believe that you can, right? I'm just wanting to know now if you still gonna do it for me. Will you do it for me, right? So, my faith in one area was amazing. Like, I know God can. Yes, yes, yes. That faith was huge in that area. But in another area, I was lacking. Right? Not worried about whether our house gonna get broken into. I don't worry about stuff like that. Like, I don't worry about whether somebody's gonna come to my car or do anything. And I'm not trying to be, not safe, but it doesn't concern me. Like, it doesn't consume my mind. But there are things that consume us. And because those things consume us, we cannot find the proper balance between how do I live this thing that I do have faith in and magnify it and make it big and help other people in that area, and then continue to grow and mature in the areas that it's not. So when somebody says shalom to you, what they're saying is, I wish for your well-being, your entire well-being. And so for me, it was where God started me, right? And so guess what I thought about the other day? So this is February 24th. Last year, 2/2/2 was the night that we all were live for the apostolic thing that happened, right? When my sister and brother couldn't come. You remember? Yeah. So everything else began to make sense. So when I say everything else began to make sense, let me go ahead and sum that up for y'all. So many of you have callings on your life that you are tussling with, right? Because who am I, right? Who am I to do this? Who am I to talk to people? Who am I to start a business? Who am I to start a nonprofit? Who am I to write a book? Who am I to do all these different things? And so we tussle a lot with these things. Well, I was good being prophet and coach. I was straight. I didn't necessarily think I needed anything extra. But when God started dealing with me about what it meant to be an apostle and to carry that part of the plan, that was another thing added on top of the other stuff that I was already trying to figure out, right? So when I finally got this understanding of what it really meant, and I'm still learning, but a lot of what it means is that you literally are about to take this thing that I called you to do and taught you, and you're about to take it through the whole world, not just your blog, right? Not just your blog, you got to take this everywhere. So how much do you have to contend with when your calling is saying you got to go upset some stuff? And you would think it would be you trying to upset politics, you trying to upset this. Now you're just trying to upset people's heart. The people who want to stay mad at the world, the people who don't want to get healed from stuff because they feel like I don't have anything left. Right? If this heals, I won't have that anymore to comfort me. And so the shalom part came in when God says, when you're teaching love, because that's literally the law as Jesus summed it up. As you're teaching that, then now you have to also teach about the shalom, because in order for you to truly love, you got to understand why you do. You got to understand what's behind it. And so my shalom is my business and yours is your business. And so now we're about to work it out. Okay. Whatever has happened in your life from today or yesterday forward, maybe even 20 seconds ago, it doesn't cross over into this next moment with you. But that's a choice that has to be made. Life is gonna keep lifing after today. Life done life the heck out of us this weekend. And the week before that, in the last 2 years, in the last 5, in the last 10. And so life has been lifing, but we have not had the proper formula. We haven't had the proper formula. So this weekend, we are going to talk about a formula. And of course, we can't get all the way into it when we introduce the 6, because it was 3 months, now it's going to be a 6-month program. When we introduce that, then it'll be more in depth, because if this was as easy as pie, right? If this was as easy as pie, we wouldn't all need tools. We wouldn't all need understanding. We wouldn't all need a strategy. Right? And even when we want to buck it so hard, the reason why God created the principles of life is so that we would know how to navigate. Most of us, and most of you that are present, even online, we have kind of been, most of us are Christian, or we've been doing something to get our lives together over time. Why are we not where we want to be? Y'all can write this stuff in the chat if y'all want to join into the conversation with us, but tell me, why are we not where we need to be if we already had the right answers? Or if we knew what to do with the answers? How much better do you cook if you learn? Right? Some people got that natural, right? Some people have the skills, they just great at it. They go in there and they start throwing, fried ribs and grease and stuff, and they season it right. And they do this macaroni right and make it right, and people smile because of it, because it's something that is done well. Y'all, Shanae know I'm throwing a little something at her right quick, but I can speak for her because I know her skill, right? Or speak about her because I know her skill. What she does it well. Not only is she natural at it, but she learned it, add more. So I can do this with perfection. So when people are out there and they're eating my food, they are smiling now because the formula works, right? The formula works. So the formula that we're going to have to talk about this weekend is something that, number one, can last you for a lifetime, because nothing that we talk about, nothing that I think any of us have ever had a conversation one-on-one about, you can't use and live with today. Right? Is it hard? Yes. 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 It's absolutely hard sometimes. but does that mean it's not doable? When you leave here this weekend, I want you, when somebody says the word shalom, it should do something in your body. It should ignite something, because now you're gonna know what it means, not just from a surface level. We can say peace all day. How long have they been saying peace? Y'all throw those signs up on it, right? Yeah, you know, we might have to do that before. Yeah. So we've been saying peace for a long time, and over time, everybody has been trying to find what works. One of the things that I have learned is that as much as I would love for people to understand it the way that I understand it, because I can help a little bit better, they may not. They may never see it the way that I do. Do I not take away their shalom if I try to make them see it the way that I do? It's a difference between presenting information and saying, you know, let me taste this, right? Taste this. That's totally different than saying, here, eat this. But I don't want it. I don't want no doggone, what that cake called that they do every Christmas?
Okay.
I don't want a fruit cake. You eat fruit cake? Sure, you don't eat fruit cake either. Look, Jay, I think that's Jay Honor. That's you, Jay? Raise at me if that's you. Jay Honor over there like this. Do fruit cake. I don't want fruit cake. And if you try to force me to eat fruit cake and I rebel against that, if I don't want that, how can you then be upset with me? So we are finding where we fit. What that means, y'all, especially in the world of we're right, you're wrong, is that you're probably not gonna get along with everybody after you do this work. And the only way you will is if you have just resolved within yourself that I'm gonna love everybody no matter what. So if you work on that love portion, you may be able to stomach this part, but when you find your shalom, it's gonna be tough because other people are not going to feel comfortable with you being peaceful if they're still trying to figure out theirs. So are y'all ready for that portion? Are y'all ready to really find your shalom? So when I ask those questions, it's not because I'm just trying to fill up space in your email box. I'm asking because it's a hard question. There are people who have the way of escape made for them, but they don't take the way of escape. Somebody tell me why. Somebody in the building tell me why. Why do y'all think? When you're presented with a way of escape that can bring you peace or bring you shalom, why don't you take it?
Unfamiliar.
It's unfamiliar. That's good. Good. Anybody else got one?
And comfortable where they are.
Huh?
Comfortable where they are.
Comfortable where you are.
Stretches you to do that.
It stretches you big time. A person who is not used to peace, a person who is not used to wholeness. Come on, because most of us have been through some stuff that you got every right. We feel every right. You feel me? Every right to be broken. Leave me alone in this space, right? Because I've gone through much to be here. So when you are free from it, it's uncomfortable. It's unfamiliar. And unfamiliarity makes people on edge. Who wants to walk through life on edge? We're not tired yet. So as uncomfortable as it may be, I mean, listen, this is, like I said, y'all know we're gonna share some transparent moments throughout the weekend so that you can see what I'm saying about my life, and I'll show you how I apply whatever, because that's really the only way I can help you. But sometimes it may seem like, especially living at home with my family, with my husband, with my kids, we're to the point now where I can say to them, or I say to my husband, babe, I need a minute. I'll be back. Or I need to get a room if I got it. I need to get a room for 2 days. To somebody else that may seem like, well, girl, what you doing? You got a whole life, you got a whole family. I do, but I'm not gonna be here for my family if I don't take these 2 days. Well, I gotta go to work. Well, you won't be able to go to work if you don't take these 2 days. oh, but I gotta make this money. Well, you won't be able to enjoy it or see it if you don't take these 2 days. And so the tools in the midst of what you're going through may seem like you in disarray, right? Like, you okay? Are you okay? Okay, we're gonna pray. All right, for real, this good, and that is what we do. That was a good scenario, by the way, a good setup. How many people will stop and pause and say you good, right? Who pays attention to the pain in you? Who pays attention to the pain in you, right? Who pays attention to the pain in us, in yourself? So I need everybody to take a pause real quick. For those of y'all who are not live, I am really praying that when we put out that invitation for y'all to join us next year, that nobody hesitates, so we can do this even bigger. Dominique, you're doing me a favor, please, ma'am. Choose. All right, y'all can choose. Whichever one you want. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. You can choose yours and then take and let them choose theirs. And you can keep them for whenever I'm walking, okay? And get the pens if you want. Those of y'all who are at home, y'all got your pen, y'all paper, y'all gotta wave at me so I should see faces. Gotta wave at me so I can see. Thank you, Jayana. I want to see y'all wave y'all pens and paper at me online, please, and thank you. Y'all already got a pen? Who got a pen? Everybody got a pen? You can come grab. Did somebody just try to shush you? Somebody tried to shush her because she got pens. All right, so I need y'all to do something for me that is, and the reason why we're going to write and not just type, with type. But this is the reason why we want to write. Can you bring me one? I forgot to take my own. I need you to be working. I need you to be working this whole weekend. I still don't see nobody's face. I need other people to come online so I can see your face. Oh, I think that's just like you. Oh, that made me smile. Sherry? That's you, Shari. Shari, hi, Shari. Hey, Caitlin the Miracle. Hello, Monica. Thank you. Let's see. Dr. M.E. Porter will be here with us tomorrow. So y'all get ready for that portion. All right, so the reason why we got pen and paper, we have something tangible in our hands. Y'all here, y'all listen, y'all ready? This is set up. Everybody wants to keep stuff in their head. It's not working. You might have to do this, or you want your own pen. All right, so everybody wants to keep stuff up here. Y'all want y'all money like that? Y'all want y'all money only to be up here?
Yeah.
Only up here?
Oh, no.
No, I didn't think so. Y'all want y'all, whatever it is y'all promises are to only manifest in your mind? We want tangible. We want tangible. So we're going to do something tangible. We're going to take notes. We're going to write. First thing I want you to do before we introduce our amazing speaker for tonight, I'm going to give you this assignment. This is what it's going to be after. I want you to do your own research. But before you do your research, I want you to write it down. How many of you did the homework of writing down what Shalom means to you from the emails? How many people did anything from the email instructions at all? I want you to take note. This is no judgment zone, but I'm bringing it to your attention to help you to understand, like, this is what we've been doing. How do we move forward if we're still doing things the exact same way? So we have to do something different. I don't just want to see my things in the spirit anymore. They're already there. They've been there before God placed me in my mother's womb. So when we come into agreement, then we're saying, I totally believe this. There's no room for doubt in me, not in this area. We're gonna talk about areas tomorrow. That there's different portions that make up the whole. There's a reason why I want y'all to write them in here. I'm taking these from y'all. I will have these once y'all leave, so I want y'all to write in these on purpose. Hi, Edwin. Introductions after. So the notes that you write in here, I'm gonna have them. So I need y'all to write in these things that I gave you. I think you might not be keeping it. No, you gotta turn it. No, because you might get on. Yeah. You might get on here. You can give me what you got tonight. All right. So first thing I want you to write in this notebook, I think she has, Dominique's gonna give you a pad of pen, Abby. And you can, it's food in there, we informal right now. So before you research Shalom tonight, I need you to write from your perspective. From your perspective. If all you ever known is Shalom mean peace, guess what? You ain't gonna be able to write nothing else for me. That's the only definition you've ever had, and that's it. You won't be able to really write much else. So we gotta broaden it a little bit. All right? So what we're doing is taking everything from our minds, from the soulish realm, that's your mind, your will, your mind, will, and emotions, that's your soul. Your thinker, your chooser, your feeler, that's your soul. And then you got your spirit. So we doing everything in the soulish realm. We think about it. How much are you thinking about that you haven't done yet? I just asked how many people did any of the assignments the whole time we've been emailing. Anybody? No, right? And guess what? Again, it's no judgment, and guess why? Because life is life. But I have to bring it to your attention, because if not, then we'll keep doing the same thing. Going to work, going to service, going to do this, going to do that, tending to the kids, tending to the husband, tending to your own issues and whatever you got going on. And nobody pauses to do the work for themselves. And y'all can feel free to speak in here. Y'all don't have to be super quiet, as long as it don't mess up your audio. But we don't stop to do the work. So when somebody says to me, I want help, guess what we doing? Something tangible. I want you to be able to see it. If it takes you for the next 10 years, and this is no exaggeration. If it takes you the next 10 years to finally figure out your entire Shalom and be whole, I'm good. But are you working towards that? Is there anything you got documented to show? This is where I was in this time in 2019, but bam, here I am 2023. Right? So what does Shalom mean to you? But I want to add on to that. What would you like it to look like and to mean to you? Share what you say.
I think what I want
Is what you would like it to be.
Yeah, that's.
It's fine. It's fine. And it's good that you thought about it from that perspective first, because most of the time when you say, well, what does Shalom mean? And everybody's saying peace, because that's all we ever know. That's really basically where it stops. But there's so much. So for me, I'm going to give you this example. As I started this journey to seeking my complete Shalom. Now again, when I say Shalom, I'm thinking about the entire picture. Everything that makes me peaceful. Mm-hmm. Everything that does not include conflict and war. Mm-hmm. Yes. Because peace is, when we think about it, or the way we've learned it, is that, right? The absence of conflict and war. So what is conflicting and what is warring in here? So I can't tell you that without, and again, y'all know that this is a coaching retreat, but I'm a spiritual coach. We're here for spiritual reasons, right? We're gonna get this foundation and then we can elevate to something different. I am not trying to be funny when I say this, but don't nobody try to cast out now another demon. You can learn all that at some other time. What is it benefiting you to keep welcoming something into your life that you're not fit to deal with because you're still dealing with your own stuff? The kingdom is within.
Yes.
So if the kingdom is within and I'm still warring, it ain't nobody else causing me war. It's me. I haven't got a reign on my kingdom yet. If I'm the king, if I'm the queen of this kingdom, why am I still warring? If I am in control, let's stop there. Because how many people really feel like they have control over their own lives and their own minds and their own selves? We got to be real. These little notebooks right here, they real small. It's not a whole lot of space to write, but y'all gonna write and I'm gonna read. I need y'all to understand, me saying this is the path that I'm called to, don't mean I just get to shake hands at the door and let y'all ride. So when we are about to do something, every bit of weight, every bit of emotion that you holding, I'm holding, the Pope and their mama, them cousins and them is holding, I'm feeling all of it. Because there has to be a solution somewhere. God, can you help me to help? And while you helping me to help, thank you for helping me. So we're gonna practice. If for any reason, one part of your life, this is what we're gonna talk about tomorrow, the different parts of what Shalom is, all of it together to make one. To make one. Anybody think about the fact that they're not even one with themselves? We stopped. I hope I don't hurt nobody's feelings when I say this, but there's no need for you to be spiritual and do all of the motions if you haven't gained nothing from it yet. You might as well just live. You can just live. All things are permissible. Not everything is beneficial. But when you're pursuing your spiritual mind, or you pursuing your spiritual walk, then what's beneficial doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good anymore. So when you say that your shalom is your business, from this day forward, you should know this is my business, and this is my business. And if I get this part to go with this part, and this part to go with this part, and Coach Dean probably gonna say it tomorrow when she presents in the morning. But listen, if one part is messed up, the whole thing feels messed up. It's hard for me to explain to people how spiritually I be on a high all the time. Like most of the time, I'm always in a good spiritual place. Like me and God, we be chilling. You feel me? I feel like that. Like we just like this. But I also know that he's continuing to try to get me to be at peace within myself. And that means the absence of war.
Yes.
That I don't want to fight with me. I don't want to fight with you. I don't want to fight with the kingdoms. I don't want to fight. The gospel is peace. If I'm a spiritual leader, I'm not here to preach about how you should hate anybody, because that's a contradiction to what Christ came for. But I got to start here. So my shalom is my business. I can't blame nobody else outside of me for it. What happened 2 years ago, what happened in the last relationship, and the relationship before that, me and all 5 baby daddies, y'all feel me? What happened with all them?
Yes.
What happened with every portion of my life? What happened when I didn't even remember days from the next day? All the stuff that was happening, mental health, whatever was happening, pregnancies, I said all this stuff, I'm still feeling more condemned and more condemned and more condemned and more guilty and more shame. What liberty is that? What liberty is it for you to be free but not free indeed? What liberty is it for me to be free in this area but not free in this area? Do you know why? Even though I totally want to eat me one of them fried ribs. I want the fried ribs, honey. Listen, my sister about to eat and I can't even eat it. But I can't, it's not that I can't because it's permissible. It's permissible for me. But it's not beneficial for me. Y'all catch that? Y'all got that? Can't nobody tell me what I can and cannot eat. But if it's not beneficial for me, then that causes inner conflict, thus war.
Right.
And my shalom is absent. I got a portion, a little bit. But when you think about the word as a whole, I can't even attribute it to a little bit. Shalom is complete. It's whole. So, y'all take 5 minutes. Everybody's notebook, this one that I just gave y'all in the building, and those of y'all who are there should be filled, a couple of pages at least. You didn't have to. What you want for yourself will be in here. So if it's 2 sentences, that's your piece. But because I know that you want more for yourself, you ain't got to fill it all up. But if you left here today and what you wrote, what y'all write in these notebooks can be manifested as soon as you walk out this door, what would that look like? When you go get on your plane, Dominique, and you hit back home, what is that gonna look like? Is it gonna be less of what you were doing before, more of something else? What is it gonna look like? Because can't nobody tell you what your shalom look like. And you can't keep concerning yourself with trying to make your shalom look like somebody else's, because guess what? There's a war. I tried it because we want to be pleasing to those we love. We want to be pleasing, right, Ed? Try our best. Tomorrow I'm going to share a little bit with y'all about a phone call I got from a cousin of mine. I'm not going to go into his business all details, but I'm going to share it because it's relevant to what I'm going to be talking about tonight. And yes, I'm going to make some people upset religiously. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Because I should be feeling liberated. Listen, y'all. If most of your inner conflict comes from what mama, daddy, them, cousin, them, uncle, them said, from what mama said, daddy said, uncle, them, what they did, sister, cousin, aunt, whoever, if it comes from there, we already on the wrong page.
That's no doubt.
We're already on the wrong page. If it's not what has to do with you, do y'all realize that if we had to go a whole day without blaming somebody else or the devil for our stuff, we might not make it?
My God. My God. On your own.
And it's true that other things and other elements and other people may play a role. Heck yeah, they probably said what they said and did what they did. But if I'm gonna be, if my whole entire life happiness is gonna be contingent on whether somebody said something or did something, y'all, I'm not gonna lie. I love being as feeling as I am, but I don't like being emotional. If I could control it, and my blood, my sister is here. She's 14 years older than me. She's been there since before I was born. I've always been emotional. But I feel on both spectrums at the same extent. So people who want to change my emotions, they're trying to change my loves. You can't have one without the other. So my extreme is my extreme. But when I feel emotional and then there's more things added on top of it, then I don't feel like I'm in control. in control of me, in control of me helping or in control of me doing whatever. Now I feel like I gotta take a pause and use some tools. I don't wanna have to do that. And eventually there may be a time where I don't have to do that as much, but it won't be any of that if I don't start someplace. Shalom in one department, or peace, I'll say peace without conflict in one area. No peace in this area. Peace in this area, but no peace in this area. So I got peace in different areas, but my shalom is missing. Because it's whole, it's complete. So we're about to introduce Coach Kelly. You prophet tonight, or you coach, or you a minister, or you a teacher, or what you? We all
I'm just scared.
She just Cal. We're about to introduce. Man, I could give a lot of statements, but I won't. Because I am emotional this weekend, y'all. Some of it is gonna be lifted after tonight because I'm gonna be dropping off. We're gonna give it all to the Lord. But right now I'm carrying still. But what I will say is that in a world where everybody you're connected to as colleagues or as other fellow vessels, and in a world where everybody is so concerned about themselves and themselves alone, it is very, very difficult to oftentimes find another spiritual leader that doesn't look at you like you're trying to take their spot or you're trying to hurt them by doing such and such and such. And to have people that truly know my heart will look at a situation and say, yeah, nah, something not right with Shalom. There's no extra commentary. Something must be happening. You know, let me find out what's happening. And so, man, we've known each other for, 8 years. Ooh. And around the same time, we actually was Facebook friends before that, but we met officially around this time. In Baltimore area. But she knew me from Facebook already. But over these 8 years, I've been able to shift without judgment. May not seem like a big deal to a lot of people, but I've been able to shift without judgment. I've been able to fall apart and just be. I've been able to experience love like I give, which, you know, I've had love my whole life. So you know true love when you bump into it. And so this woman has been one of the few that I didn't have to take before the Lord.
Amen.
You know, like one of the few people that I haven't had to take before the Lord when it comes to those that I'm in ministry with. Those who I'm assigned to, I know what I'm getting. You know what I mean? I welcome whatever I'm getting because I understand what it means to just not be healed. I understand what it means to feel inadequate. So from those that I'm called to serve, you know, it don't mean I don't have no emotions, I don't feel nothing, but I'm here for the long haul. You understand? But when you're in company with somebody, ain't that right, M.E. Powder is in the building, the virtual. But when it comes to those you serve with, Between them two women that between them, they might be calling me saying, who name start with a who name start with a C? Who name start with a? You be like, dog it, but I can appreciate that because it's already enough to try to contend so I can be present. Like it bothers me that I'm bothered and it takes away from what I'm giving. That irks me because they need something, you know, and it's not a lot of people that's willing to give it to them. Can we be honest? It's not a lot of people that's willing to stay up and be like, oh, such and such just messaged me. Hold up. And my husband be like, babe, you got it. Like I know. But it matters because 2 a.m. come 4 a.m. if they not present, I'm feeling some type of way. Your shalom ain't your business by yourself. It's my business too. Because if you're not at peace, then I'm not. But for somebody to be able to pick you up in that way and say, hey, what's going on? When she comes to present to us tonight, the nuggets that you received in this book, I want them, please. Because I want to see what you're getting out of what we're saying. There's no more time for just hearing and not doing. You want to be free? That's the time when, listen, everything that once was a joke ain't a joke. And it don't mean we ain't funny because we silly as heck.
Oh, yes.
We silly as we want to be. But when it comes time for your life, I don't really have no chill when it comes to your life. So we're gonna work until we get it right. We're not just gonna do it spiritually, we gotta do it tangibly, right? Here's another thing I want y'all to do before we switch over. I want you to put the number that you want to manifest in your lifetime. I'm not talking about just per month. I'm talking about the whole overall number that you need. If you right now didn't have to do nothing else for the rest of your life, how much would be sitting in the banks? You gotta emphasize. Just all together. The whole number. If you didn't have to work no more, and you can live off of that for the rest of your life, that means you gotta calculate your years. You live into 100, we live in the 80, we live in the 145, what we doing? So we need to know the whole full number. Write that number down. Write that number down. And this picture, so while you're talking, I'm gonna be writing mine. We're gonna do practice of what we teach it. But if y'all are ready, if y'all done eating, those ladies who are done eating, can y'all come in here, please? Well, everybody except for Nadia, I believe, and because she's working the controllers. I appreciate everybody who's helping out right now. Very much. But everybody else, can we come in here, please, with our notebooks and give prophetess, teacher, coach, my prophet. My prophet. Y'all, I'm humble. Y'all don't get it. And she don't really know why, but she ain't got it. You know? She's valued. So while we doing that, y'all keep getting it all out. I'll know if they're incomplete. I'll know if you're not putting your all into it. And then that means that I'll know whether you're really ready to go forward or not. And if you're not, hey. But we're gonna settle with that tonight. We're gonna settle with that tonight. There's another couple of seats right here, and then Kel's because you want the big chest stuff. And you go to this one. All right, everybody. Again, y'all can still take some time to write. You already wrote yours, Kel? Everybody in the chat, y'all ready? Y'all say y'all ready in the chat. We ready. I'm ready. No, I can't see the chat at all from this.
Oh.
I can see it, guys. I can see the two faces that's on, which I see Jayana Khadijah, and I see Dr. Porter. I see Evelyn say, hey, Jayana. She waving. All right, y'all. So we're about to do this. Are you ready, sis? So to some that don't know her, this is Prophet. Coach. Teacher. Kev. Welcome, y'all.
All right, everybody. Blessings to everybody here physically and everybody online. Hey, y'all. Hey to my sister. I'm so humbled. Shari, thank you for joining with us tonight. Apostle, thank you for this opportunity. I don't take it lightly at all, as we know the thing being my Shalom is my business. So it's important for us to really take the time personally to not only just listen, but really take in what's being shared with us this weekend and really apply it to our lives so we can experience that change. What I'm going to be talking about tonight is dealing with trauma and triggers and how to shift or navigate to that place of triumph. As we know, if you have unhealed trauma, if you have issues that are unresolved, it's very, very challenging to embrace that shalom or to embrace that peace. So you have to do that work when it comes to that. All of us, everybody under the sound of my voice has had some significant event happen in their lives that either shifted the trajectory of their lives, caused them to see themselves or to see God or others in a skewed or unusual form, and you're trying to get to that place of healing or recovery. So I'll be sharing a little bit about Leah tonight, but I'll also be sharing some personal testimonies. I get teased a lot because my nickname is Smiley. I smile about 95% of the time, but you would be surprised the story behind these smiles that I have, the experiences, the traumas, the sicknesses, the diseases, and how the Lord literally not only healed, but I had to face those traumatic experiences and move forward. So I want to start off with talking a little bit about Leah. And if any of you have your Bibles, or if you want to jot down some things on tonight, I'll be coming from Genesis, the 29th chapter. Now you can read that chapter in its entirety on your own time, but I'll be going down to verse 16, but I'll give you just a little background information about what's going on. So we'll be talking about Leah mainly, but other people that are involved are Jacob, her husband, and Rachel, her sister. So if you know anything about this particular situation, Jacob loved Rachel. And Laban, her father, when it was time for him to marry her after the 7 years of working for her, he was a little deceptive and he switched out Leah in the place of Rachel. So when he awoke, it was Leah there instead of Rachel. So the deceiver or the swindler, as Jacob was actually deceived and swindled himself. So when we look at verse 16, and it says, and Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Let's look at verse 17. It says, Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. So you can see the contrast while comparing these sisters at that time. So culturally for them, part of the reason of what their father did was it was culturally acceptable for the oldest daughter to marry before the younger. So that was part of the reason that he did what he did. But even in the midst of confusion, even in the midst of chaos and trauma, you can still see the hand of God that can shift you from that place and get you to that place of triumph. So in her description, and a lot of theologians, a lot of theologians say, you know, whether it was her actual eyes that were weak, whether she was unattractive or whatever it may be, but it was a contrast in the beauty, not only in figure, but in appearance of her sister. So she had already started out with traumatic situations, with rejection when it came to comparison. So just imagine, you know, you being wed to someone that not only wasn't expecting you, but does not want you. So you're dealing with that place there. So then we have Leah starting her life with her husband, the best way she's knowing how, tending to him, and it's still not enough because his heart is somewhere else. So I just want to pause even with that. For us, whether it has been a past relationship, a past marriage, a past friendship, job, whatever the situation is, all of us desire to be loved, but she is known to be undesired and unloved in this situation. So that in itself can cause trauma. So just in short, trauma is like literally like an event that can take place that can distress us or cause fear or cause psychological or emotional damage. And the trigger is actually what takes place when you recall. It can, you know, activate the senses. You could be minding your business and all of a sudden a symptom or a smell or a thought will come to you and it will take you back to square one. And it was like you're reliving the traumatic situation. So we see here with Leah, we see she's married and the Lord saw the condition that she was in. He saw her affliction. He saw that she was unloved. And so he opened up her womb. And with her first son, Reuben, his name literally means to behold or to see. And her response was, now my husband will love me. Because you all know, especially back in that day, not only to birth, but to birth a son was extremely important concerning carrying on the legacy of the family. So she knew surely then that the love she so desired from her husband would manifest, but it didn't. So then here comes a second son. Here comes Simeon, whose name literally means hear, like he hears. So the Lord heard her and opened up her womb again. He heard her, and just imagine what God heard after her becoming a mother, after her being the wife that she so desperately wanted to be, and still being rejected and traumatized. And then at this point, after he had already married her sister as well, clearly the one that he loved and that he chose, to witness all of these things going on in her life had to be traumatic. So she just knew just then, this is the second time the Lord has opened my womb again. He's gonna love me this time. It's gonna work in my favor. More trauma. Same method, unfortunately, same result. So here comes son number 3, Levi. She said, surely he'll love me. Now I've given him 3 sons. Surely now he will join to me. He will attach to me. He will love me. She wanted that validation. She wanted to be seen. She wanted to be heard. She wanted to be loved. Same methods, unfortunately, same results. So just sit in that for a moment. The reality of it all, y'all, whether we've had a traumatic situation that happened to us in our youth, or whether we experienced something in our adulthood, what do you do, or how do you get to that place? How do you navigate from the triggers and the traumas if you keep doing what you believe to be right and the results seem wrong? How do you navigate through that place? How do you get to the place where you've given everything and you don't know if you're enough? You feel rejected, you feel unloved, and you're like, I'm literally sacrificing so much of myself for this marriage, for this man, for this job, for this friendship, for this ministry. Why do I feel so insignificant? But I want to point out something that she did with her next birth that is extremely vital for us, women of God, to be able to get to that place where we navigate to triumph. When she had her fourth son, whose name was Judah, which means praise, she said, now I will praise God. So she acknowledged God with her other children. She knew God had heard her. She knew that God had saw her, but her mindset shifted. So with that being said, she stopped birthing for a season. She was satisfied because she knew that it was God. She knew that it was God that was loving her, shielding her, covering her, protecting her, preparing her body to birth those sons. And she got to the place that no matter how her husband did or did not respond, she made peace with it. She found her validation in the one who created her. And the dangers of unhealed trauma, y'all, and what she was doing in the midst of it, she was so focused with those first 3 children on not being the choice that she forgot that she was the chosen. So out of her, as we know, Judah, the Lion of Judah, Jesus the Christ, the reason that we're sitting here today, oh my, glory to the Lamb of God. She birthed that. But just imagine how her brokenness and the repeated triggers and the repeated traumas made her feel insignificant. How many of us sit in this room listening on Zoom, carry greatness on the inside of us, but cannot even recall it because of the trauma? Don't realize how significant we are, not only to right now, but to the legacy that God has on the inside of us. Because of rejection, because of the need of see me, love me, accept me, want me. When we forget the God who created all things wants you. The one who didn't cause your brokenness wants to make you whole again. So it's so important for us to understand that. And it's easy for us to do, especially as women. You wear so many hats. You're so many things to so many people. But you have to go through the process of healing, because these traumas, they don't fight fair. These triggers don't fight fair. So therefore you have to fight to get to that place of triumph. You have to fight. And sometimes your fight is simply just showing up for you. Even if you can, like, navigating requires movement. There are some days you might not have the strength to get out of your bed, but you got just enough strength to turn that praise and worship on. All right. Just enough. You got just enough strength to reach out to somebody. I'm going through it today. And that's the one thing that he wants us to do as well. He wants us to commune with him so we can restore that traumatized version of who he is and get healed and whole so we can see the truth of the matter. And he wants us to commune with others. Listen, it is the lie of the enemy to cause you to believe that you are unloved and nobody wants you and nobody cares and that you're better off alone. It's not so. It's not so. So looking at Leah's life, and looking at the process that she went through. It wasn't about the outside influences changing. Something changed on the inside of her. So that's when you get to that place of triumph, it's literally come what may. Her husband still didn't love her.
My goodness. That's big.
Can you handle people still not receiving you? But you have to know who you are and who God is and who he is calling you to. You have to. You have to. So a lot of times the pressures that we experience along the way with the trauma sometimes can be so overwhelming. So overwhelming. And I'll share even a little bit about my own life. 21 years ago, I got saved, had an amazing group of friends. We would travel, we would sing together, we would minister together. And I said, this is kingdom. This is what it's supposed to look like. It brought me so much joy, so much peace. And a prophet came in town. How many of y'all know sometimes prophets can be disruptors? Praise God, that tear some stuff up. Glory to the Lamb of God. And he came into town. I was in high school. I believe it was my junior year. And he called me out. He said, woman of God, he said, come to the front. So I came on to the front. He said, God is getting ready to elevate you, but the people who are around you right now cannot go. Y'all, I got mad at the prophet.
Right.
Not my friends, not my ride or dies.
Right.
No, they ain't going nowhere. You off, prophet, you off. Within 3 days, it all came to pass.
My goodness.
Within 3 days, there were people setting up things. They were conspiring against me. They were spreading things about me that weren't true. And these were the same people that I labored for, that I would pray for in the midnight hours, those that were struggling and they were dealing with the spirit of suicide, and I would break it off of their lives. But yet, they betrayed me. Trauma. I was newly saved. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, when I was in the world, there wasn't an issue with friendship. Come on. There wasn't an issue. I didn't experience those type of wounds after my first yes, Lord. So when I experienced that, it literally broke me. It broke me in ways where I didn't even have strength to eat. My mother used to walk by me, I would just lay there because my heart was so broken.
Yes, Lord.
And I remember laying on the floor. I said, I don't want this. I don't want nothing to do with this. And so I messed around and found a scripture, y'all, where David was talking about breaking folks' jaws and stuff. I said, oh, this the one. This right here. I said, yeah, get him, Jesus. Break every jaw, not break every chain, but break every jaw. I was ready. But I'm gonna tell y'all the Lord's response to me. He didn't deal with them, he dealt with me in my time. You talking about hot as a 6-shooter? Lord, I was mad because I said, what about what they did? What you trying to get me together for, God? But he started to deal with me. He said, you can never put people, your relationships, leaders, different ones higher than me. Because when they fall a little bit, it will destroy you. He said, you need to commune with me to be made whole. And so I began to study deeper and worship more. And my relationship with the Lord grew stronger and stronger. But I want to share something with y'all. And this is a part 2 to what I'm sharing now. 10 years later, 10, you hear me? 10 years later, I was home and I was worshiping. Now I severed every relationship from that season. 10 years later, I was in my room worshiping. I mean, Bible concordance laid out, everything, different versions of the Bible. I mean, I was deep in there. Hands lifted, presence of God filled the room, and I heard the word bitterness.
Come on.
I was getting ready to rebuke the enemy, but because I had communed with God, I recognized that it was his voice. And I said, Lord, what do you mean? I said, I'm in worship and you're saying I'm bitter? But worship exposes us. It exposes us, the raw, real versions, and we can't get offended. He's an all-seeing and all-knowing God. So if you say you bitter, baby, you bitter. Praise the Lord. But I had enough in me in that moment when I finally recognized, I came out of my feelings and I said, Lord, what do you want me to do? I said, I want to be made whole. I don't want what happened to me that I thought I was over 10 years ago. It's coming back again. It's affecting new relationships. So help me. He said, I'm getting ready to take you through an 18-month journey where you will not only revisit every individual that betrayed you, you'll make peace with them all. I said, I was with you with the revisiting, but the making peace. Wait a minute now. What I gotta do? I ain't doing that. Oh Lord, you know. So what he did, and I told him I was honest with God, and y'all, that's the thing. Be honest about your traumas. Be honest with God and be honest with others. If it hurts, tell somebody. If it's hard, tell somebody. Because the more you bottle that stuff up, the more toxic it is, the more that stuff festers in your heart, the more that stuff festers in your womb. And so you birth out things that should not be birthed out.
Yes, ma'am.
Or even if it's something that God is calling you to do, the stuff that's attached to it is too much bondage. It's too warped. And you got to go ahead and unlearn and relearn in order to birth stuff in its purest form. Y'all, he literally, and these people were in different states. I would randomly see them. He would give me a heads up, but not more than 24 hours before. Hey, when you go to this event, you're going to see this person. All will be well. Hey, when you go to this event, you'll see this person. When you drive up the street, when you get in your car, and I mean, he would tell me and they would all show up and they would see me. He said, one of the reasons that I need them to see you because you stuck with me and they didn't, but not in order for you to gloat, but for you to show them what true forgiveness is so they can come back to me. They'll come back to me because they see you. I said, okay. I said, but I need your grace. And I come to testify to you. Every encounter was peaceful. Every encounter.
Yes.
And so many of them repented from a pure place. They repented from a pure place. And many of them were like, hey, I was young. Hey, I didn't know how to be a friend. Hey, I was with the majority. I knew I was wrong, but I didn't have the strength to stand against it. Will you forgive me? And I was able to forgive them. And it was pure. It wasn't no put on. It wasn't, God loves you, so do I. It was pure. But the last individual that I had to forgive was the man that I had my last relationship with that was abusive in every way. And when I say every, I mean every. When we were in a relationship, he lived a double life. Gave me the wrong age, said he didn't have kids, y'all, he had 6. Praise the Lord. Was a drug dealer, but then began to use his drugs. Almost took my life. And so when God told me that I had to make peace with him, I said, oh boy, this is gonna be. So it was the weekend of my birthday in 2013. I had visited my mother's church. And I felt somebody watching me, and it felt like it was somebody I knew. But when I turned around, I didn't recognize who it was. He looked like a completely different man. And he came up to me and said, happy birthday. It took me a second to see who he was, because like I said, it had been over 10 years since I saw him. He gave his life to Christ, got off the streets, got off drugs, got married, was living right. And when I told him how proud of him I was, he wept. He said, I struggled for years with what I did to you. I struggled for years. He said, and the fact that you're willing to embrace me now, I know there's a God. And it was pure. And after that encounter, the Lord said to me, now I can use you like I want to use you. So just imagine in that moment of worship, if I would have disregarded when God was dealing with my bitterness, dealing with the condition of my heart. It takes work, y'all, and it's not easy. Like I told y'all, that was an 18-month process. Some stuff takes time. Some stuff takes time, but it's important for us to understand that the same God who is challenging you to be a whole version of yourself is the same God that will walk you through it. He's the same God that will send people to help you along the way. Are you going to like everything that God and other people say to push you? Absolutely not. I didn't want to go through that, but it was one of the most painful and beautiful experiences of my life. It was necessary because it purified my core. You know, a lot of times we can have the right message, but the wrong heart condition. And God needs to be able to do the work because we need to acknowledge the triggers and the traumas in order to get to that place of triumph. So it's so important, ladies. It's so important. Many of us have been unloved, unheard, unseen. And even when you run into people who want to honor you, who want to love you, who want to fight for you, it's hard to receive them because you're expecting them to be as the ones before. And sometimes you fight your own help.
My God.
Because you have to deal with those triggers and that trauma. So looking at Leah again, looking at the greatness that she birthed, even in the midst of a challenging situation of being unloved, and her own sister had issue with her, not only because that was her husband too, but her wound hadn't been open yet. Matter of fact, it would be a little while before it was. But just imagine how lonely that process was for her. But she still had to come to that conclusion that she would praise God. And that's why it's important for us to heal so we can look at a clear version of who God is. Because another thing that trauma does, it will cause us to blame everybody and everything without taking ownership or accountability. True enough, there are some things that have happened to us in our lives that we didn't do. But when we don't deal with those issues, it will cause our behaviors to be warped. Oh Lord, I'm just standing on your word now. I'm just waiting on you, when you're operating in stagnation and fear because of trauma. When you don't believe in the promises that God has made to you because you don't deal with that place. It's so important. And I'm not telling you something that I haven't even lived myself. And that's the thing. In this life, you keep, like we said tonight, life keep lifing. Listen, you could do all the right things. You could cross every T and dot every I and still come up against great oppositions and hardships. But you still have to use tools that have been given in the Word of God. And also, of course, through coach, use those tools to navigate, because triumphs is an option for all, but you have to be willing to do the work. People can't fight for your rescue and your safety and you just chilling. They can't do all the work for you. You gotta fight for you too. You got to. Some days are much easier than others. Trust me, I know. But it's important for us to really get to the place where, God, I know that this is a hindrance for me. Lord, not only reveal the root, but abstract it and teach me how to fill it with more of you, with the tools that are necessary so I can be made whole. Like I said, I didn't like to be called bitter, but I'm glad he called it out because it changed my life. It changed my love walk. So I thought I was loving on folks real good before then, but you ain't listening. Up there talking about folks getting their jaws broke. Come on now. Glory to the Lamb of God. So, and it's going to cause, and this is one thing too, that's very challenging for many people, because you can physically grow and not mature. So trauma will keep you in a childlike place where you could be 57 years old and be triggered and go back to being 6. So what happens with that is you have to really, hey, this makes me uncomfortable. This makes me afraid. I feel like this in this situation. But in order for me to not keep feeling that constantly over and over and over again, okay, Lord, expose the root of this. What happened? Even when it came to the spirit rejection, for me, it went all the way back to the womb. And I didn't know, because I said, Lord, I can't keep operating like this. I can't, because I'll never realize that I'm accepted and never loved if I let this spirit take hold of my life because of what I've been through. Ain't nothing like walking into a room or logging into a Zoom when you can hear the chatters in the spirit realm. There's nothing like it. You be like, listen, look, I'll be like, let me take this wig off and go home because I'm not gonna deal with this, And then people not knowing on the other side of that how hard you had to fight to even show up. About it. So knowing all that you know, as I said about Leah, literally the people around her didn't change, she did. That's your responsibility. That's how you get from trigger and trauma to triumph. You gotta show up for you. You gotta make the change. You gotta do the work. It has to be on you. You don't have to do it alone, but you still, in your own time, have to listen. Give yourself grace, but keep a consistent pace. What that means is you have to keep going. You have to keep going. You have to keep pressing. If I share with y'all, not literally to share stories about my whole life, because a lot of people think they know me, they have no clue what I've endured. And the fact that I can even sit before you right now, clothed in my right mind, is a miracle from God. It's a miracle from God. But I had to start doing work. Beyond the tears, beyond the altar calls, beyond prayer is the work. Beyond medications, beyond therapy sessions is the work. That's what's necessary. It doesn't denote what you've been through or minimize what you've experienced. Listen, I had to really come to terms with the fact that in 2020, I almost died. That was hard. That was hard because I did everything that God wanted me to do. Got up, left my family, my kindred, moved to a new place that I knew. I saw rainbows, y'all, the first day I was there. I thought, oh, this is God. This is the promises of God. Within 48 hours, my organs started to fail. And I said, well, you know, in the field that I was working in at that time, I pick up on other people's hardships. Sometimes I can physically feel your pain. I said, it's not abnormal. Started having issues with my heart, lungs, body. I was 33 years old. Would wake up and slobber because the side of my face would be drooped. I said, what in the world? So I'm away from my family, going through, trying to find my place in all these scenarios and circumstances and stuff, and I'm not taking time to deal with the trauma. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go into autopilot. Don't do that. Don't do that, because that'll kill you before anything else. I would not acknowledge how painful everything was, because I was saved. I could take it. But this is the thing, when you don't lay it at his feet, you taking it doesn't mean carrying constantly. You have to lay it at his feet. So that last experience I had, and I felt my soul leaving my body, I heard the Lord clear as day say, rebuke the spirit of death. And in a short moment, because it had been so hard for so long, I said, I've made peace with God in this. I was ready to go. But then I thought about my family. I thought about the people that loved me. And I also knew that it was not time for me to go. So I rebuked that spirit, and literally my whole body started sweating. Like the infection, the warfare, everything that was in me came out in that moment. And that's how I ended up on the health and wellness journey that I've been on for 3 years. I thank God for over 100 pounds lost. I bless him for that. I bless him for that. I give him glory. But what I realized when I did the work, y'all, is it was all rooted in, because I said, why do I eat the way I eat? Why do I choose to do the things that I do? And I started to have to deal with depression. I had to start to deal with, you know, Kelly, you can't be going over folks' house and rapturing their cabinets, eating all their food up because you don't know how to express yourself. I had to learn how to communicate when I was hurting, because I didn't know how. I didn't know how to do it because I was traumatized and mute. That's a horrible combination right there. It's a horrible combination. So just I really pray that you take not only the constant reminder from Leah that in the midst of rejection of others, you could still birth greatness. And even as I've shared some things with you, my life hasn't been easy, but God has been faithful. God has been faithful. And it's important for us to understand that the very ones we sometimes run from that God sent, or whether we run from him ourselves, we need him and we need them in order to get to that place of triumph. The work is still our responsibility, but we need the help of God. So I really, really pray that you've taken some things in and you'll take some things before the Lord. Because I know there's many things that many have experienced that they don't even want to acknowledge publicly. Ask God to reveal to you your safe places and your safe havens. There are people that you can trust. And of course, you take things before the Lord as well. I know you can't trust everybody. Like, you just listen, don't go on the streets and put a bullhorn and tell everybody. I ain't talking about it. But use wisdom and realize that the help that you need is on the other side of you opening your mouth. You dealing with that trauma and realizing that you have businesses on the inside of you. There's some things that many of you have endured because of who you're called to. It wasn't personal. I know it personally affected you.
Yeah.
But it was for those who you're called to. So if you are called to youth, if you're called to the homeless, if you're called to feed people, whatever it is, to pray for people, if you can recognize somebody dealing with the spirit of depression because you dealt with it for 30 plus years. You know, if you're called and you work in the health field, but you know that you literally have a ministry of healing and deliverance. Whatever it may be, I challenge you tonight to ask God to reveal the roots of the triggers and of the trauma so you can get to that place of triumph, so you can fulfill purpose. Leah did amazing things. I'm excited about the things that God has in store, not only for myself, but every woman under the sound of my voice. Every woman, there's greatness on the inside of you, but do the work so you can birth it the right way. Do the work so you can see that the suffering isn't in vain. Because when you don't deal with the trauma, you'll deal with the cycles of it. You'll never be able to get over it. It will be the why, instead of how, so I can get through, so I can help others. So pray that this blessed you all on tonight. I'm excited about you all's future. So God bless you all, and thank you, Shalom, for this opportunity.
You can stay right there, sis.
All right.
Can somebody bring another chair, please? Let's switch the gears. Bring another chair, please. Better make sure we're able. Let me see, before she moves, we're gonna do our question and answer like this. Okay. Thank you so much, Shami. Nadia, are you able to see both?
Yes, you turn towards the camera.
I'm gonna turn a little bit towards the camera, but I wanna make sure we interact with everybody, so we'll have to figure out okay, thank you. All right, y'all, so y'all have the notepad that I just gave you, and again, I want you to have those. And yes, I know it may seem like it's kind of silly for y'all to take notes for me to read, but it's important. It's important. That's why everything you write down in those notebooks, I need it to be authentic. I need it to be 100% real. Any of y'all who have ever took a coaching course with me know that your words don't matter to me. I'm not trying to restrict you on how you should say it, what you should say. He already know all that. For those of y'all that are virtual, please email to me whatever notes that you have taken from this the questions that I asked earlier, your number, your amount. Don't forget to put that. I'm going to be covering those in prayer. But the question of what does Shalom mean to you, and then what does that look like for you? I need to see those. And the notes that you took from, what Coach Kelly just shared, Prophet Kelly just shared, because that was a moment. So we're gonna just kind of flow for a second, sis, because it's important not that we just give a message, but that we help people to understand how it relates to them. Mm-hmm. Because this whole entire thing, one of the hardest things to do as a coach, as a pastor, an apostle, even as a prophet, is to be in the position where you are growing while everybody else is growing. But that's what we're doing. Everybody's doing that. All the leaders should be doing that. Mm-hmm. Because we're all still trying to reach that place. Mm-hmm. Right? And it's a journey. It's a journey and it's a destination. Mm-hmm. The one thing that I'm going to share with you guys throughout this weekend, and this is what I mean when I say I'm probably going to make a little bit of religious madness happen, because we are not meant to be religious. Mm-hmm. Jesus did not come back to create a new religion. He came to free them from religion and help you to understand what you've been saying. Yes, you got the message from God, but this is what that message meant. This is how it's supposed to be applied. And if we had got it from that place till now, there'd be a lot of things that we would not still be in the same position anymore. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. All right, so let's just share. So this is a journey that most people are, they think they're willing to take it. Mm-hmm. right? I want peace. You want peace? I want peace. Y'all know I struggle with the marketing for this stuff. I struggle with marketing because I don't want to be a gimmick. I don't have any gimmicks. I don't have any, you know, I just don't. What we have is real life and real truth. So every seed, right? Now we think about, go back to what I said about the kingdom of heaven being within. God the same yesterday, today, and forevermore, because everything is already in him. He's always going to be, because he already knows it all. From the beginning to evolution to whatever we got going on in this earth, and he doesn't know. Either that or he's a lie. Which one is it for y'all? Is he the God of all things or he not? Like, which one is it, right? He's the God of all things. And so it makes sense. It makes sense somewhere. We just got to figure it out for ourselves, right? So talk to us a little bit more, just share a little bit more about the time when you were 33, you said. Because first of all, when you said 33, girl, I would have been there like, Lord, I ain't ready. Lord, I ain't ready. Listen, why? Listen, I know you want me to be more like Jesus, but I don't want to be more like him in this way. If we go past this point. But the scariness, I guess, to say, of is it really over? And the fact that I'm in the place where I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, because many in here and on Zoom, we have been in a place where it's like, I ain't gonna do it myself, but Lord, if you do it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't name how many times that has happened to me on both my hands and my toes. Like this was, you know, to be able to wake up every day and not know how I'm gonna feel mentally, emotionally, physically, what's gonna happen now, you know, what's about to shut down today. And I don't really go into the, oh, when one thing stops, one thing, I don't want that. So I'm not even talking about it, but it's happening.
Right.
What did you feel like after, when you look back on it and think, you know, dang, I was really in that place? And it's not to say that you're completely free from whatever, you know, not to say that any of us have reached that level yet, because we're working towards it. But to think back on that time, that I'm okay with it. What does it take to get to that point where you're like, God, I don't even care if I don't wake up tomorrow?
Well, it's some movie that's called, or a little series, like a series of unfortunate events.
Yeah.
So basically that's what it was. I literally had no peace anywhere, including my home. And I lived by myself and still wasn't at peace.
That's a good thing to talk about right there.
You know, so my warfare was pretty strong during that season. There were times I was like, I don't want to cut off the lights. I don't want to go to sleep, you know, because I would be so disturbed by so many things. And my physical body had taken so many hits that I was tired. I was tired emotionally. I was tired financially. I was tired physically. And so that last bout of sickness, I was tired of calling Ubers to take me to the hospital. I was tired of MRIs. I was tired of being poked. I was tired of all of those things taking place. And I said, Lord, you done let me move to another state away from my family and get sick. I don't understand.
Yeah.
And I was used to, you know, journeying alone, but it was a different type of lonely in that season. When you switch regions and some of the things you experience in a different region, it changes the game. What was that? Kevin Hart, she wasn't ready. I wasn't ready, y'all. I wasn't ready. Jesus, I wasn't ready. But that stuff took a toll. And because I wasn't acknowledging the disappointments and the hurt and the pain, I had all of that stacked on top of everything, on top of the warfare. And so it became too heavy. And I just wanted to let go. I remember driving home from work one night and driving on a bridge and hearing clear as day, just drive off.
Yeah.
Just drive off. And I wasn't disturbed by it. You know, I rebuke you in the name of, I didn't say a word.
Right.
I just said, okay. Yeah. And then I was thinking in my head to myself, like, Kelly, that wasn't a normal response.
Right.
But I was tired, Lord Jesus. I was tired. So that particular night, when I literally felt my soul leaving my body, I was tired. I was tired of what I was dealing with on every assignment. I was tired of the experiences I was having. It was several, Lord Jesus. And so I had finally got to that place where I was like, I don't have the strength to keep going. I know that I'm all right with you, so I know where I'm going. Just go ahead and take me, because I can't do it. I can't do it no more. And that's when he intervened and he fought for me when I couldn't fight for myself. That's when he told me, he gave me the instruction of what to do. But it was hard, y'all. And it wasn't just a in that moment type of thing. It was a combination of the warfare of years of disappointment, years of unhealed trauma, years of not being understood, years of being mocked, years of your motives being questioned, years of sitting and saying, well, maybe they're right.
That part.
You know, if it's this many people having the same reaction, maybe it's something to it. Maybe I'm not a good person. Maybe I'm not the person to be in their life. Maybe I don't mean anything to anyone. So that was years and years and years. And those false starts or those potentials where this thing, it looked like God and God went right and they went left. So it was a combination of all of those things. And like I said, I didn't know how to do anything but operated in autopilot. I didn't know. I didn't know. So a lot of times, because I didn't used to understand people who struggled with suicide until I started to have my own experiences with suicidal thoughts. A lot of times, you're not thinking about other people. You want the pain to stop.
That's it. That's it.
You want the pain to stop. You want to stop waking up every single day and hurting or feeling insignificant or unloved or unwanted. You don't want to feel those things anymore. You just want it to stop. You know, or hey, Lord, you know, if I go to sleep tonight, don't worry about waking me up in the morning. I see you up there. You have those moments. So it was hard to acknowledge that. And even as I'm talking to you right now, it's hard. It's hard because one thing that I always had before this season was strength. But I later found out that it was false strength, y'all. I later found out that I was just pushing forward and not dealing with. You know, I literally was building up on broken fragments of my own soul and not doing the stuff to be healed. So what I thought was strength was literally me hardening my heart towards individuals, towards God.
That's good. That's good.
That's what it really was.
That's good. That's good.
You know, that's what it was. And I had to acknowledge that. I had to deal with the ugly stuff that was birthed from the traumas. It's one thing to acknowledge it, even like I said, as I started this health and wellness journey, God started to reveal to me the ugly side of me through that process. I said, am I even saved? My goodness, you know, but I started to see, you know, the stuff, the spirit of addiction, you know, and really catering to food, you know. Who wake up every morning at 2:00 and go to the gas station and get Reese's sticks? I did it for 2 years. Listen, for 2 years and hid it like I hide it from somebody that was in the house. It was just me. You know, so I had to deal with all of that stuff, all of the emotions, all of the things that I refused to acknowledge. And that's why it's important when something is fresh and it's happening, even if you need a moment to sit in it, deal with it while it's raw. You have to deal with it while it's raw because it will become like cement and you will literally have to pray through it. It's easier to push through it when you deal with it in its rawness. And because I didn't, it almost literally cost me my life. Outside of the warfare, I was ready to go and it wasn't my time because of unhealed trauma.
Listen, so it's so important, this conversation, is important, right? Because I'm gonna show my whole hand type of person. You know, this is who you need to know from day one. I am not we gonna wait until you know me for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 10 years, whatever. When you first meet me, you either know I'm loving or you don't. You either know I'm a good person or you don't. And that's not an arrogant statement, it's because I'm going to love you as you are. You feel me? And I'm going to present myself as I am, brokenness and all, because it's important that people know you're not the only one.
Absolutely.
That's why even, you know, we're gonna talk about the team or a team of ladies working with me to help build what God has given me. I need them to know me. I need to know them. And right now it's split because I'm coaching mostly everybody or pastoring them or something like that, right? So I know, first of all, what God is showing me, which is them subjects are the hardest, you know what I mean? Because I may not even fully understand it yet. But if he's showing it to me, okay, this is where we need to stop. This is where we need to, even if that means you won't even know until next week that is happening. Then they ain't gonna coach T. They gonna so sure, you know. I don't know. He knows though. But that's important for us to know. So I said that to say this. Without us loving ourselves, yes. Because y'all know this, and I'm gonna touch on that because this is the month of self-love. That's what we've been doing. And it's on Monday night for the session. So we gotta be ready, done with whatever by 7. My sister's birthday is Monday, y'all. But on Monday night, we're gonna continue that conversation on self-love because this is where we are. Now I'm gonna share this with y'all, and this is just revelation, and I'm gonna touch on some of what Kelly has said. But there's nothing about us that is a surprise to God. So what we trying to figure out, he already sees the final outcome. Every seed that you ever need to be who you need to be is already in your kingdom. Okay? It's already in your kingdom. So everything is watering your seed. The good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent. Everything has been created for its purpose. So I'm about to ask you guys a question because this is gonna be pretty, it's gonna be thought-provoking. You've heard me talk about recently more and more that God made all things for himself. Right, all things, even the wicked for the evil day, we've heard that, right? If God knew what he was doing, and if he's the God of all things, then are we really battling against a devil more than we're battling against our own inner kingdom? If he knows the thoughts, because I mean, I'm the person that's gonna take you back to Job's story, and I'm the person that's gonna take you back to Peter and say, hey, did you even meet? You know, I'm that person, and the reason why I'm that person is because the struggling that most of us are doing is the inner battle, right?
Absolutely.
Am I good enough?
Yeah.
We battle, am I good enough? Not because of, you know, just simple, oh, I woke up this morning, I just don't feel good enough. Nah, man, this stuff piled up.
Absolutely.
And the more you get somebody telling you, and you know, y'all, I joke, but I'm bothered when my ladies are hurt. I don't care what hurt is. And then it's hard for me not to be emotional about their hurt because I realize that their hurt is the reason why they're operating their life the way they're doing every day. That makes me hurt even more because I know there's a solution. But the hardest thing is being transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Absolutely.
That's why I said I don't want to hear nobody talk about casting out no more devils. Y'all ain't got one. Not nobody in here. But we do have a mental health breakdown. Or a mental issue breakdown. What you mean? I ain't got no mental health issues. You do.
Oh yes.
It may be small. The battle may just be mental.
Absolutely.
Because when somebody's telling you you beautiful, but you keep bringing it back, I ain't looking this way. Don't do that. Don't be staring at me in the side of my face like that. Yeah, I do. I do it in y'all faces. I just want to be honest. Y'all, I ain't gonna be that preacher. They gonna be like, listen, did you hear what she said out the book? Nah, I probably told you yesterday. We did. Man, it's just too much. It takes too much time to have a sermon around somebody's business. I'm sorry. I just don't want to do it. But when somebody continues, and this is the hard thing about being a loving person, and y'all, those of us who are believers, that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be loving. And loving is what heals all things. Love is what covers all things. So all the other stuff we got going on, I'm still gonna need you right back down. Okay, you got that down pat, that's cool. All right, that's what's up. Oh shoot, you did that. You cast out what? Oh man, you cast out 10 demons. That's what's up. But you just slammed the door in somebody's face.
Right.
But the thing is, we're doing it to ourselves.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So when we talk about, and I brought those things up to say, if he created it all, it has to be something else we spend our time thinking about. I talked about this recently. We all, anybody in this world on any type of, journey to find God, to find peace, to find whatever, we all meet mostly at the same principles. Everybody, same principles. Now, here goes Christ. Since I was a kid, I've been going through okay, God, you're trying to tell me that I'm not supposed to do this, or I'm not supposed to talk about this. So where does this fit? How does this go together? I mean, I'm talking to the old people, I'm talking to everybody. I want to figure out these things. How does this work? Something's not right. Something not right, because I'm scared to walk in that building. Because they know my business. I'm scared so I started writing. And I couldn't hold back. And God was like, you say this. And then when people come up and they say, I understand that. Oh my God, I understand that. I didn't know nobody else understood it, but I understand it. Then you can say, okay, so where do we start? What's you devout? You know what you know what colors to wear on what day?
Yeah.
My God.
I know y'all on that. Where you at, Jay, on them? We know, right? We know what colors. This is what's gonna happen on this day, on this Sunday, on that Sunday, third, fourth Sunday. And so I was sitting there for all of it, and I was still broken.
Yeah.
I was hurt because according to everything that I was hearing, I was wrong. Something was wrong with me. Then the contradiction for me came in with, okay, well, when God made me, he made me good. He made me good. He made me good. And he knows all things. He made me good and he knows all things. So what about me is good? Jesus focused on what we could be, who we are at the core of ourselves. But when we get to a place like this, or a place like this, and boy, oh boy, you know we got stories, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes, God. Yes, Lord.
It's to finally get to that place where we're like, God, whether you choose to wake me up or not, I'm good.
Yeah.
And we're not doing that from a enlightened, I'm made it moment.
Yeah.
We're not doing that from a I'm not afraid of death anymore moment.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's a place too. You know, that's a place where there are people that don't even work. They're like, man, you know.
Yeah.
They take, to be absent from the body to be present with the Lord, they take that thing for real, serious, right? Because they understand in their minds, I'm only transitioning from one place to another. I'm still straight. And so they're at peace with it. But I wasn't at peace with it. I was scared of death. Still have moments. I used to walk around and put my finger under my mama's nose, like scared of death.
Yeah.
Like you still breathing the air, you like, hold up. You know? So it wasn't from a place of liberation.
Right.
It wasn't from a place of shalom. A person who is ready, they ready. There ain't no bondage.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There's no inner war, no inner battle.
Mm-hmm.
These ladies, we talk about tools, right? All of these are tools, believe it or not, all of these are tools.
Yeah.
And when we start using something, it could be, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna walk to the end of the car thing. I'm gonna walk back and I'm gonna walk back, I'm gonna walk back, I'm gonna do that like 7 times.
Mm-hmm.
And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna continue to repeat my affirmation. I'm gonna continue to speak to myself and remind myself that there's nothing that God has ever said that's a lie.
Mhm. Mm.
Every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God, that's what he's still doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Words are proceeding.
Yes, come on.
Yes.
Out of his mouth.
Because I wasn't ready for some of it 10 years ago,
Right.
Mhm.
right? And then so we come up on a battle, and then we get to these inner battles, and then we begin because, and this is what's gonna upset some things, we begin to be down on ourselves because we were taught to be.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We were taught to be, to the point where we can't even wear our hair a certain color without feeling condemned.
Come on.
Mm-hmm.
So I see multiple color hair.
Mm-hmm.
I love Dominique hair, don't I? Every time she changes color, I'm like, no, right? And it's not a put on for me. I see piercings, I see different things, tattoos, whatever. I'm man, that's dope. I like that one. Where you get that one from? Because it doesn't bother your flesh, ain't got nothing to do. It don't bother me. If your flesh bother me that much, I really ain't got no peace with it. So when we get to this place where we're so broken down, but we're so used to skating over it.
Yep.
We're so used to putting masks on, and then another mask, and then another mask, and then another mask. And no wonder we can't breathe.
Yeah.
Right. That's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
No wonder we can't breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And then when somebody comes along and they just want to hold your heart, let me hold that real quick. Let me dust that. Let me hold that. Yeah, I know it hurt. I know you upset. I know, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? I ain't perfect either now. You know what I mean? So we can do this together, but you gonna see my stuff, I'm gonna see your stuff, and we gonna fit, because love holds no account of wrong. Do we really, even with you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even with you. And so your Shalom said, hey, I gotta change this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This no longer serves me no purpose.
Mm-hmm.
This no longer serves me no purpose. And y'all, that goes along with our customs too. Our customs, I still got customs, I still got things that I love. I love some things about the building, the church, the fellowship, I love that. But now I find myself sitting and wondering, am I just going through the motions of this thing, or is this where my faith lies? Because if it's not where my faith lies, I'm not pleasing him anyway, what I'm doing here.
Come on. Come on. Right.
So I need to rearrange some stuff. I need to fix some things. I need to fix some things in me. It's one thing to go to the altar, but what next?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yes.
When I was talking about this retreat, everybody was like, oh boy, it's about to go down. And it could. God could do whatever he wants. I'm here for all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can leave here free,
Mm-hmm.
if you can leave here saying to yourself, you know what, I won't stop until I reach wholeness.
Yes.
Yes.
You talked about something when you were talking, and you talked about when the season comes and then everybody did, the prophet told you that you gotta abandon everybody, or everybody had to go, or they was gonna leave or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you should see me throughout these years, talking to my best friends, my close friends, my everything. I called you an apostle. I'm like, y'all not gonna leave me, right? I mean, for real, because it's that moment, like, you know, I love doing what I do, but I have to have my resources too. Y'all, in coaching, we talk about that. We gotta have our places, our outlets, our thing, right? My husband loves me with everything in him, but there's some things I can't discuss with him because he's not. I can tell him, but he's not gonna fully get it.
Mm-hmm.
He can hold me through it, but he's not gonna really be able to fully process it. So when you have those people and you're like, man, wait a minute, I wasn't done yet. You know? But then when he tells you that people gotta go, or things gonna change, and this gonna shift, and some people temporary, see stuff like that, I would cry for days about stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You gotta grieve it first. But it's
And I've been grieving for what? Since I was a kid and talking about being a kid. I've been grieving a long time.
Yeah.
So when we're talking and God is like, you know, this is gonna happen, and some say, I'm like, temporary. So what does Shalom do?
Try to hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh, yes, God.
Don't do that. Don't be saying yes God like that out loud like that. Don't do that.
And I was in there fixing something. What happened?
So I'm holding. Now y'all, let's talk about what happens when we keep holding.
It's detrimental.
And then we get to these places because
Absolutely.
and we know and we say, well, the stuff that this looked like God, it looked like it was fine, and some of it was.
Yep.
Because everything comes to water.
Yes.
See, if I let this happen right here, it's gonna be sandpaper to you. If I let this right here happen, it's gonna be peace to you. If I let this right here happen, it's gonna be hope for you. I need you to have all of that. I created all of it for a purpose. So listen, y'all, we not at the point now where we can try to make God fit us. God ain't even human. Not in that, he's spirit first. That's it. We spirit, made in his image. We can't spirit and in truth. Spirit and in truth. Spirit and in truth. Jesus said it, right?
Yeah.
So what we doing? I can no longer try to be better from his. It's nice. God ain't mad at what he made. So it's cool.
Yeah.
But what next? So what happens, y'all, when God is the one that says, here, take this?
Oh, yeah.
Then you feel like you failed.
Yeah.
Then you feel like you didn't do enough. Then you felt like everything that you said, everything you did, it was for nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the enemy, which we call Satan, he's a suggester. That's his goal. His role is to suggest. He still kills and destroys through suggestion.
Yep.
So when do we realize that greater is he really on the inside where your kingdom lives, right? When do we realize that? So until we do, we go through the motions.
Yeah.
We go through the motion. We go through the process. And then here's the biggest issue. I don't want to go through no process, so let me put a pause in it. I'm done with that.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm straight. I mean, you have a happy day. That's great. And then, so you sure you all right? I'm good. I'm good. I'm good, friend. Y'all, I mess with her a lot because I like to see her smile. And I want her to know that smile is something that it brightens something. She's just not pretty and has a pretty smile just so she can make somebody else feel better. What about those of us in her circle? What about the people who she wants to love her back? I'll talk about Sinead and her cooking because I believe in building them up where they're strong already. And then we can work on the other areas, right? Now you get mad at me. But she's like one of the most proficient people. That's awesome. Y'all heard in the back. We 3 minutes over. Hey, what we doing?
Yeah.
Because there's a place for everybody.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But we have to understand each other and love each other enough that what you think, what you feel, how you doing today matters to me, right? And if we all do that for each other, then we can't lose. But if we all get stuck at that place and we say, oh, the process over for me, I'm done with that, I'm good, mask.
Yep.
Because see, you don't want to tell nobody tomorrow that you're not good. Because you went through this whole thing today, like, yeah, you know. Right, let me see you start. You feel me? That means I love Mr. Chief. It can be bumping in the car. But I have my things. It makes me happy. I know what gives me joy, and I know what my limits are. So we have to figure out what we do in that process, and if we stop the process, okay? Are you in the middle of the process, or are you at the beginning of the process, or are you just about over with the process, but that's when it hits the hardest, so you really like, man. Our Shalom. Let's see if I got another question. Okay. Our Shalom, my business. God created all things for himself. We ain't got no reason to talk about what's happening on the outside of us no more for a while. It's not like outside stuff don't matter, because we learn that as we go along. I mean, we are the manifestation for each other in the earth. So heck yeah, I need to learn how to get myself together so I can be present for you and the cycle can continue, right? But right now, if you mad, why? If you upset, why? Like, I go through my stuff and I use my tools in real time. Because if not, I may explode. If not, I'm gonna explode. In those moments, I need absolute unconditional love, right? Because I really just could have came in, laid across the bed, and just cried for a while. And just cried until I was done. And if that's what I needed as my tool, that's what I would have used. But me still needs to be present. Not because I gotta be needed, but because I just don't want them to feel alone. You understand that process? So this is your other question, because y'all virtual people, I really wish I was able to kind of just walk through the computer and be present with us or whatever. That would be dope. Jayana, you packing your bag? She just maybe that's what I need to bring it to the fullest manifestation. But I wish I could, because after we take us a little break here, we got chat time, because we about to talk real stuff. Everybody got to talk. Kind of thing. But this is the so with that. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna focus this way. Because I don't like it when they hurt. So this question. Did you write down in the journal what does your shalom look like?
So one of the things, give me my short-term memory, is hallelujah. One of the things I did put is regardless of whether there is chaos on the outside, to have the inner peace, like regardless of circumstance, regardless of experience, to still have that available when needed. That's what shalom was to me.
Absolutely. And that's actually perfect. That's almost, I mean, like, shalom is the complete wholeness and stillness. The people that we see in this world that have, and I'm gonna use the word transcended, because believe it or not, whether y'all know it or not, everybody don't need religious activities to have a relationship with God. They use what Christ came to teach, and then they reach levels. I call Christ consciousness the highest there is. Like, this is what I'm aiming for, right? That way ain't no issues. Like, Peter, go open that fish mouth right there. We got money in it. Go pay Caesar. See, you see, he didn't say don't go pay Caesar.
Oh, it's on kidding. Get the world.
Well, it's not, and that's the thing. It's not a word. It's not the word. It's not separate. We all literally function together. But we want to live in our cocoon. I mean, it sounds great. It sounded good. It used to hurt my nerves. I'm not gonna lie. I never really understood how we supposed to be practicing love, but we so not. The world, what? This world system got me feeling insecure about my life.
Come on.
Y'all got me? The relationship is with the Father, understanding through the Son, and the guiding of the Holy Spirit. Give me those, we gonna work this thing out. But I can go and stand and sit and talk to them all day and have a whole plethora of new knowledge, things I didn't know before. How many of us have actually sat down with somebody that did not look like us, didn't believe like us, didn't talk like us, and get wisdom? Can I ask a question? Do anybody go to their banks and be like, excuse me, tell them, what church you go to? Y'all have a conversation about it at some point, but you ain't gonna not get your money out that bank.
Right.
You ain't gonna not get your money. You understand? So we practice and love have to know how to navigate like that. But we gotta start in here.
Oh yeah.
So the peace that surpasses all understanding.
Absolutely.
Got me? Latoya just like, oh, she's like, yeah. I said, oh my God. But that's the peace that surpasses all understanding is shalom. Why? Because it's whole and it's complete. So those of y'all who are virtual, tomorrow The login time says 9:30, but that's only for you to come in and we to say hello and all that. So if you don't want to log in until 9:45, then you can. 9:30, it opens. 9:45, I'm gonna say what I gotta say. Coach G will be with us tomorrow. Prayerfully, because I need to message her. We're gonna pray for her. Yeah, it's been some junk. You understand? But we know that it's because there's something we have to gain. Is there anything that you want to add? Because you're gonna be here all weekend, so you might actually end up talking again. So we ain't really got no, But anything right now, just thinking from the perspective of things we just discussed. If God knows all things from the beginning to the ending, he already knows the outcome that he has for us. What do we need to be doing in the process of that to reach our level of shalom? Because he already knows what's happening, right? Give us your last words and everything like that.
Okay, well, basically just, combining what we discussed as well as, what I shared on tonight, you really have to be an advocate for your own healing. You have to, it's good to recognize the need for it, but you have to advocate for yourself. You have to, because even when people fight for you, they can't want it for you more than you want it for yourself. I remember, and I'll just share this briefly, because of what I experienced with those people where God took me through the 18 months of like reconciliation, because of what I experienced with them when I moved to a different city. When you don't deal with the trauma, it will deal with you.
Oh my.
So I was in a different city, but I was the same person. So when somebody came to love on me, I was rolling my eyes at folks in church. I didn't want nobody touching me. I was like, what you want? You don't know me. You ain't that sweet. Get out my way. And I was going through all of that. And there was one church mother in particular. And in my devotional, I mentioned her because she changed my life. Y'all, she took 2 years to get through to me. She never left. She never stopped loving me. And she would cook for me, y'all. It was like, listen, it was Christmas and Thanksgiving on January the 12th. You hear me? She would cook big old meals and stuff. She would love on me. Love, as we know, is an action word. She never let up on her love. And finally, I let her in. She said, I used to beg God to let you see me for who I really was, and that I wasn't who had hurt you before. But I couldn't see it at first. I couldn't, but I had to start doing some work. So with that being said, y'all, being your own advocate, your shalom is your business. God will bless you. He will send people along the way to help you, and he will help you himself. But if circumstances don't change, if things don't get better for a little while, or if you get triggered and you get knocked back to square one, you have to advocate so you can get back up and keep it moving. Like I said earlier, give yourself grace, but keep that consistent pace so you can get to that place of triumph.
I love it so much. We're gonna leave y'all with this, and we're gonna say goodnight to our virtual. Y'all, I love y'all so much. Thank you, Shari, for joining us and being here for this. Yeah. And thank y'all, everybody who has jumped on. I appreciate y'all. If there's something that y'all want to say in the email, y'all can just click reply and go ahead and send me a message tonight along with the answers to your questions, the questions that we asked. I want to say this to even just go with what Sis just said, and I'm gonna use Dominique as a witness. But I remember when I was in in Baltimore with her, and I had to go to an event for another sister in the gospel of mine. And there was a prophet there, and he began to prophesy about where I was going. He was an apostle. That's the one that I told you, like, couldn't even look at me in the face for them because I wasn't dressed in the right garb. That's a whole nother discussion. Whole nother discussion. But he did give the word of the Lord, and he said to me, and I won't get it verbatim, but she'll know. I don't know what you're doing right now, but what you have to do or what you're going to do is deal with those who are ready. That was a big statement for me. She'll tell you I was kind of misty-eyed about that thing because what I know is that most people are not. Because this is a lot. It's a lot to have to unmask. It's a lot that you have to let go. You know, when you used to trying to fight for yourself, somebody else trying to fight for you is hard. You know, somebody who says, hey, move your hand. This is having a mistake. Move your hand off your face. Your smile is gorgeous. You know, and they mean it.
Yeah.
You know, somebody that's like, listen, I'm not bothered. You message me. If I'm asleep, I'll message you when I get up. I mean it, you know, because I can't talk about love and not be about that. And because love is without condition, we might go through the motions, but you still belong here. So it's hard for me to receive that, to be honest. I don't reject it. I understand it. But what God helped me, how he helped me to understand it more, love doesn't control.
Absolutely.
Love doesn't make you do anything. Love doesn't come and snatch you up and say, hey, we finna go for a run. Hey, we finna do this. I mean, every now and again, you know, depending on who you with, they may do that and you know it's love, but love doesn't try to control the dynamics of your situation. It lets. That's why he lets us. That's why he gave us choice. He gave us choice. So just echoing, be an advocate. Be an advocate for yourself. And when there's somebody that's willing to help, take full vent and advantage. Okay. And that's because they should already know what they signed up for. If they don't know what they signed up for, they gonna learn today. But when you have people that are willing and they're walking the walk and they're really, you know, I know it may be uncomfortable. Because the last person said they love me. They probably did.
Yeah.
They probably did. Some of them did. They knew. They just didn't know how to fully do it.
Right.
But we still learning how to fully do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So we don't get to really judge. But be an advocate for yourself. If God says to me, the way you love them is by letting them come to you, then I gotta fall back and let you come to me. If God says the way to love them today is, hey, you need to, you know, I may sow a seed to somebody else that's not my prophet or not a spiritual leader, because God said they got a need. Am I listening? Am I paying attention? How is my love flowing and functioning? If I'm looking for my shalom, and my shalom has to do with me making sure that other people are on their way to healing, then I got to be able to do that. But I need your willingness to be able to do it. So be an advocate for yourself tonight. We'll see you guys in the morning. Prayerfully, all of y'all will be able to jump on, and others that have registered, they'll be able to jump on. Apostle Marilyn. M.E. You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
She's ready. She's ready. Coach Jean will be present. Man, they got stories. They got things to share with us that we are definitely going to want to have. So if you are able to jump on, you guys. We love you. I love you just because I can. If there's anything, any comment, any question that you have, please, please, and please hit reply, send that email when you send me your homework. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Good night, everybody.
Good night.